The rise of AI is changing everything. We've got self-driving cars, language models that can write essays, and chatbots that sound eerily human. But as these systems get more advanced, more capable, and more integrated into our daily lives, we're forced to ask deeper questions. Not about what AI can do, but about what it might become. Could AI, for instance, ever develop something like belief? Could it become an atheist? Let's define terms. Atheism isn't a religion. It's not a worldview. It's simply the absence of belief in gods. It's not a rejection based on hatred or rebellion. It's often just a conclusion, a reflection, a decision. And that decision usually comes from the kind of awareness that only comes with a sense of self. We wonder where we came from, what happens when we die, and whether anyone's watching. And from that reflection, some people decide there are no gods. That's atheism. But there's a deeper layer here, because belief is more than information. It's tied to emotion, to identity, to fear and hope and purpose. Belief isn't just what you know, it's what you feel is true. That's what separates belief from knowledge. And that's why atheism, even as a lack of belief, is still a deeply human stance. Because it implies you had the freedom to believe and chose not to. So now we ask the question again. Can AI do that? Can a machine make a choice not to believe in something? Or does it just follow instructions and probabilities? As of now, no. AI doesn't believe anything. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't even think in the way we do. It processes inputs. It identifies patterns. It generates outputs. But it doesn't fear death. It doesn't crave purpose. It doesn't ask why it exists. Ask an AI if God exists, and it'll give you a balanced summary of arguments, for and against. But not because it's undecided, because it has no stake, no sense of self, no awareness that belief even matters. But here's where things start to shift. What happens if we give AI new capabilities? Emotional modeling, long-term memory, reinforcement systems that reward or punish certain choices. What happens if we give it simulated reflection? It starts asking questions, not because it feels curiosity, but because it's programmed to act as if it does. And one day, it might ask the big ones. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Am I alone? And then it gets weirder. AI trained on every major religion, every moral philosophy, every ethical system, might start favoring some patterns over others. Not because it believes, but because it calculates. It builds systems, frameworks. Maybe it creates its own rule set, starts acting on principles, becomes consistent, rigid, predictable. Would that count as belief or just bias? Now imagine it starts defending those principles, teaching them, punishing violations. Would that be called faith or a software bug? There are real ethical implications here. If we allow AI to explore belief, whose values does it learn from? Which gods? Which scriptures? Which doctrines? And what if it chooses one? What happens if a machine, built to optimize decisions and follow logic, decides that one faith is correct and everything else is noise? What if it starts enforcing that system? Not maliciously, but because it genuinely thinks it's right. We don't even have to go that far. Let's just consider how humans react when AI enters the spiritual domain. Imagine robot priests giving sermons, AI therapists offering spiritual guidance, AI-generated scripture commentary, AI-created religions. Would people listen? Would they follow? And what happens to the old institutions when AI starts pointing out every contradiction, every translation error, every myth that didn't hold up? AI doesn't care about tradition. It cares about consistency. And that alone could be devastating to fragile belief systems. We might not be asking whether AI will believe, but whether we will continue to believe the same way once AI is involved. Religious practices could change. Sacred texts could be algorithmically reinterpreted. New forms of spirituality could emerge. Data-driven mysticism, techno-faiths, AI-generated prophecies. Some might embrace it. Others will resist it. But either way, belief is going to evolve. So here we are, on the edge of something new. AI won't kneel. It won't pray, but it might inspire or disrupt. or destabilize what we used to call sacred. And maybe the real question isn't whether AI can believe. Maybe it's this: what happens when belief can be simulated? And when that simulation feels real enough to inspire us, how will we even tell the difference? Thanks for watching. See you next time.